The International Atomic Energy Agency's latest report on Iran's nuclear program was made public, stating the regime has increased its enriched uranium by almost 50% in the last 3 months. Now, a statement from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said the report was a clear warning sign that Iran is totally determined to complete its nuclear weapons program. Here to discuss this and more, Congressman Marlin Stutzman, who was recently in Israel. He represents the 3rd Congressional District of Indiana. Congressman Stutzman, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
How's the jet lag?
A little bit this morning, but I'm doing okay. I don't know that I really got accustomed to the time change. We were so busy while we were in Israel, but it was a great trip.
Yeah, it's always a busy time over there. So I was there about 4 weeks ago, and I don't think the issues have changed much. You had a meeting with the Prime Minister. What was top of mind with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu?
Well, what you just mentioned, the nuclear program that Iran is trying to implement or create, that is top of mind for the Israelis and the Israeli government. We all know that Iran has nefarious reasons for a nuclear program. In fact, I don't believe Iran should have a nuclear program, full stop. I mean, nothing. They have plenty of gas, they have plenty of oil. There's no reason for a nuclear program for utility purposes, because when you start and teach your young children to, death to America, death to Israel, and you continue to fund terrorist organizations around the Middle East to attack Israel, there is no reason for them to have a nuclear program. And frankly, not only Israel, but also Saudi Arabia, Turkey, any other Middle Eastern country shouldn't want Iran to have a nuclear program, because they're already the bullies in the Middle East, and they would only be a bigger one with a nuclear program.
And this today, after I think 5 rounds of talks between the United States and Iran, a media report today, and I take that with a grain of salt, it comes from the media, but they intend to reject the U.S. proposed deal regarding their nuclear program. And this is my sense in my conversations with some Israeli officials, is that the concern here is dragging out this timeline. You combine this with the report of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and in 3 months they've been able to increase by 50% the amount of enriched uranium that they have. Time is not on the side of safety.
No, it's not. And, that's what they do. I've had several people in the Middle East tell me that, there's certain countries in the Middle East that they laugh at the United States behind closed doors, because they're just going to wait us out. They're hoping that, they'll be willing to wait out President Trump once he's gone in a couple of years and out of office, that maybe the next president will be weaker. They have a long-term plan to accomplish their goals of eliminating the infidel. And so we have to be vigilant here. And I know that President Trump is the strongest negotiator and strongest diplomat that we've had since President Reagan. But I truly think that President Trump is flushing them out, showing again that they're going to reveal themselves for what they truly want to do. And that is to have a nuclear program to bomb Israel, and then, of course, to engage with the United States at some point.
I want to switch gears, Congressman Stutzman. I know you met with the ambassador to Israel from the United States, Mike Huckabee, while you were there, a dear friend. He released a statement challenging the media for their reckless and irresponsible reporting, just repeating the claims by Hamas that IDF soldiers actually killed civilians as they were waiting in line for humanitarian aid. This type of stuff that the media is facilitating when it comes to Hamas's narrative is what's fueling what we saw in Colorado yesterday.
It absolutely is. And, also the shooting in Washington, D.C. by a man who traveled from Chicago, and he kills 2 Israeli diplomats here on the streets of Washington, D.C. This sort of rhetoric has to stop. Tony, I had the privilege of visiting with some Israeli soldiers, and they, of course, all of the young men and women right now are serving in Gaza at one point or another, whether it's in active duty or reserve duty, and the reserve duty is doing about 300 hours a year when they're used to doing 0 to maybe capping around 70. So they're doing a lot of overtime to help stop to go after Hamas and eliminate them. But the Israeli soldiers told me that they're so sad for the people of Gaza because they're being used as human shields. And Hamas is hiding behind them or hiding under them in their tunnel system, which their tunnel system is as sophisticated as the subway system in London, England. They obviously don't have trains down there, but they have Hummers down there. They have vehicles down there. It's a very sophisticated tunnel system, and they're hiding underneath the Gazan people. And these soldiers were telling me, one way or another, we want to get our hostages out of there. We want to end this war. They want peace right there. And so it's not coming from the Israeli side. I again, was so amazed by the Israeli people, how badly they want peace and they want to have prosperity and to raise their families in the promised land that they were given to them. Again, was reminded by that, those verses in Genesis and Numbers about, God's hand blessing those in Israel and cursing those who curse him. And so the Israeli people are doing the right thing by going after Hamas. We got to make sure other allies or countries like Qatar and, of course, Iran funds those organizations. And we need to be asking a lot of questions, I think, of Qatar on what their intentions are and who they're really loyal to.
I agree 100%. We just got about 50 seconds left. But along those lines, I think you and Congressman Andrew Clyde, who was there with you, expressed support for Israel declaring sovereignty over Judea and Samaria, because that is that's a threat right there in the heart of their land.
Absolutely. And, they call it the West Bank. And, when we ever think of a West Bank of the Jordan River, we don't think of hundreds of square miles into the middle of Israel, and so it is Judea and Samaria. And I believe that Israel does, deserve sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. And I also believe in the long run that we need to find a way for Gaza to go back under Israeli sovereignty as well. Hamas has proven they can't use it for proper means.
That was the start of all of this. Marlin, we got to leave it there. Thanks for joining us.